Create what you care about, and the rest will follow. Cue my theme music, or whatever the heck I do, or I don't freaking know, man. I don't know. I'm tired. Welcome to the Creators Initiative podcast, where we have a raw and authentic conversation about I don't know. I don't know. I really was trying to say that without reading this, but I don't come in here enough in between working jobs to have that down pat like the back of my hand. But one day I will, with practice and repetition. So let me read it off for you. Welcome to the Creators Initiative podcast, where we have a raw and authentic conversation about creating intentional media, our way to grow our personal brands and businesses. If I say business, messed up like that one more time. Business, okay? I am your host, DP editor and entrepreneur, part-time, unintentional content creator, lay it low. And today we're going to talk about how does one, I don't know, I don't want to say this, I don't want to frame this, but how to unleash, how to create. It's ADHD, it's finest. All right. How does one unleash their creative? Maybe we should start from the intro beginning. No, we shouldn't. Okay. How does one unleash their creative? Sorry. How does one unleash their creativity in order to stand out? Well, in my opinion and experience, there is a couple of different ways. So the first one would be gaining inspiration, but not copying and pasting that inspiration to your personal brand and business content. The second one would be through practice and repetition, finding what sparks your creativity. And the third one, finding the type of content you like to create, or just creating something that has never been seen before while leaning in and leading with who you are. Ooh, that was a bar. Okay. But makes you different from everyone else on the internet. So let me say that one more time, because that was a bar. And I'm going to tell you this one thing too. I wrote this, I don't know how long ago, because I've been out the game and I've been working. So probably over a month ago. I'm pretty sure sometime in September. So when I'm reading this, I'm like, ooh, where were you mentally when you wrote this? Because says bars, fire. Ooh, you ate and left no crumbs, as the kids say. I don't even think they're saying that anymore, but whatever. So let me say this one more time. Finding the type of content you like to create, or just creating something that has never been seen before while leaning in and leading with who you are makes you different from everyone else on the internet. Okay, so let's talk in depth about each one of these points. So you walk away from this podcast feeling more confident in the content you are going to create for your brand and business. Okay, so let's talk about inspiration that leads to unique branded content. So, of course, I'm going to speak from my experience here. I have a playlist on YouTube that's saved as YouTube Inspo. And then I have, I guess, another saved playlist, if you want to call it, on Instagram called Creative Reels, Filming Ideas, and Techniques. It's really long. I didn't want to get special in particular, making it short, but that's what it is on Instagram. And so what I do from time to time, especially when I hit a creative rut, is I go through, or it's a combination of if I hit a creative rut, and also a combination of if I want to see what's kind of like the popular style of content out there, what's doing well out there, so that not so much I can rip it off, because that's what we're talking about here, but just feeling like how I can put my own spin to it, okay? So I look through these different types of content to make sure that, first of all, let me say this. I look through these different type of contents. I save it because I want to make sure that the bar is set high for my content. I'm going to try to keep this little mini story short, but I have realized that when people outside of the filming community, I guess, or just like my friends that are in business, kind of don't care anything about, obviously, filmmaking, so therefore they're not constantly following other filmmakers, constantly following cinematographers. They're just kind of following, the people who shoot stuff with their iPhone, and things like that. And here's the thing. It's always hard for me to talk about people who shoot with their iPhones and stuff like that, because there's nothing wrong with shooting with your iPhone. There is a course out there, if you ever want to take it, from Full Time Filmmaker, that they just teach you how to shoot specifically with your iPhone. But here is the thing with everything, whether it be your iPhone, whether it be a mirrorless camera or a cinema camera, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have the creative eye. Okay. And so you can take a one-dimensional picture, a two-dimensional picture, and make it 3D if you know what you're doing, whether that be with a phone, whether that be with a camera, a mirrorless camera, a hybrid camera, or a cinema camera. So it doesn't matter what you have, you just have to know how to use it. And so when you are following people who don't know how to use their iPhone, at the least, or they go out and they buy a hybrid camera, mirrorless camera, and they still don't know how to use them because they're not surrounding themselves, entrenching themselves, introducing themselves to content that is better than theirs, then they think that's the best. That's the best thing. That is top tier content when all this legitimate top tier content out here actually exists. And I'm saying that from personal experience a little bit. When I was starting out back in 2015, and I think even there was a time in 2018, I think I filmed my first wedding. Yes, let's just talk about that for a second, respectfully, because it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible dumpster fire. And I will say some content that I've shot, even when I was an intern for the UTC athletics and things like that, or the photos that I take, they had flashes of potential. They had flashes of like greatness, I guess. I don't want to say great. That feels weird, but you know what I mean? Like really like good stuff. Good. It had the makings of what it is that I do now, right? But it wasn't fully polished. It wasn't the best, right? And if I listened to the people, which I love them to death, they were great. They thought my stuff looked great. My parents thought my stuff looked great. Everybody around me thought my stuff looked great because that's the only introduction that they had. Okay. So of course, like, yeah, this looks great. But once I got around other people and started following professionals, legitimate, videographers, legitimate cinematographers and filmmakers, like, that's not it. We got to step our game up. We got to do better. We got to be better. We got to push the envelope. We got to invest, right? And so now you get the content that you see now from me. And still this could look, crazy enough, this could look better. But now, thankfully, I'm in a place where I just know that depending on resources and time, this is the best that it's the best that it's gonna look, and that's okay. That like, this is top tier right here for the resources and the time that I have. Like I really could make this look super duper cinematic, and but let me just like define it a little bit too. I'm in the middle of this studio that has no windows. There's a window, but it's way over there, and it's a door. Okay, and there's no space. It's like a little hallway, and so there's no space for me to set up my camera equipment and like take a 600D or a 1200D light and blast it through that window so that I can control the light and make everything look natural, and then take a fogger and give it a little texture to it. Like there's a lot of steps to it. And so, but like I said, it's just me, and I'm just filming a podcast. So I want to look professional as it possibly can with the resources and time that I have. So here in this room, in this living room, I guess you want to call it, I set up the divider, I set up the fake plant, I have my, what is this thing called? My spotlight here, give it a little texture on the background, give it a little something, and then I have my key light here to the side, and it looks good. It looks great. I got one camera because that's all I got time to really set up for it, because I got other stuff to do, and I don't want another one sliding, because also, too, it's a very tight space. You don't know this, but it's a very tight space. I'm hiding a bunch of stuff behind me, and it's a tight space, so I can only do so much, right? And that's where I have thankfully grown, and I'm not, like, mentally just messed up over it, that I'm like, this is just the time and resources. Like, this is what I got to work with, and this is what I'm able to create. And that's okay, and it looks professional, looks great. Even if I had an iPhone, if I filmed this podcast on an iPhone, I still would make it look good, because I know what I'm doing. I know what I got to work with, using lighting and things like that. But here's the thing. If I had this cinema camera that I'm filming this podcast on right now, or if I have my iPhone, I would never I could not make this look good, this area look good, without this backdrop, without this plant, without the spotlight, without this key light, and just using the natural light that's in here. It would look terrible. Like, I might show you, right, mentally, remember right now after the podcast, if I turn off all these lights and got rid of this backdrop, what this podcast would look like if I just shot it as is without the pizzazz and the knowledge that I know to make this frame look as best as it possibly can in this space, in this area, right? And so that's just something that I've learned by just constantly watching content that's better, that's top tier, that's higher. Because I have seen in real time people think, oh, this looks good when they haven't seen better. And so that's my little rant there. But not only am I looking at content that looks better, that's top tier, that has the bar set high so that I continue to push myself, but I also take bits and pieces of that content and try to infuse it into mine or try to add my own little twist to it. Okay. Because here's the thing. Maybe I should give you an example. Maybe I shouldn't. Let me see what I have in my notes. Yeah, that's what we're gonna talk about. Okay. So for instance, when I see other people's content, I always try to keep in mind that resources, time, the space that they're working in, which I think I talked about it a little bit. I'm trying to remember what I talked about like 5 seconds ago. But like I said, I'm in this smaller space. There is no light, and this is all I can work with, right? This content will look totally different if I was in, my future townhome. I'm purposely choosing it because it has all the lighting that I need. It would probably look more, have a more warm feel to it or whatever. And so I have to keep that in mind when I am looking at other people's content of just like, they're shooting this, most likely in an area that has a lot of natural lighting, and they're just using all the natural lighting that's possible. Or they're able to shoot in an area where they have windows and they can set 600Ds, 1200Ds, really powerful lights outside of these spaces so that they can control the light. Or they're using, diffusion cloths. They're using blackout curtains. They're using a bunch of different stuff, and I have to keep that in mind. So going in and looking at their content, consuming their content, and thinking I'm going to take that and recreate it verbatim, frame for frame, is going to zap me mentally. It's going to zap me creatively. And it's just like, hey, I like the idea. I like their transitions. I like, how they zoomed in, the effect and stuff, like the stuff that I can really create in my own content, but not rip it completely, because different situations, different resources, different time, even experience. Sometimes they have more experience than I have. They've been doing this longer than me. They have they have flex of the creative muscle. They can, get some things together. That's my advice there. So it's just taking the inspiration, the little things that I can, just infuse into my content, that makes sense, that I got the inspiration from somebody else, but not rip it completely, because that's just going to zap you mentally. And also too, you have to consider like the resources that they have, the time that they have, and even most importantly, the experience they have to create that content specifically. And once you figure that out, once you come to that realization, it's so much easier to go on social media or anywhere and actually take inspiration without leaving and feeling like defeated that you can't do that. Because I know like a lot of people say that it's, imposter syndrome, and it's not healthy to consume content without producing content. There's like a lot of different sayings out there, and it is true. Looking at you start to get envy, and you start feeling defeated. But that's how I approach it when I look at other people's content, and just being like, oh, that's a good idea. I never thought about it that way. And just taking little bits and pieces and creating morphing my own little monster out of it. That's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say. That's where I wanted to go. Also too, here's a good example right now. Something that I've been seeing is Daniel Dalen. His like style of these captions. It's so funny. I seen his caption videos, and I think this is where I'm going. Hold on. Let me get my thoughts together. Let me get my words together. This is what I'm talking about. Where or better yet, let me say it this way. There's so much I'm gonna cut out of this because I just okay. So here's the best example of just grabbing little bits of inspiration and creating your own edit. So I've seen so many different creatives from, Rich Wilkerson Jr. I've seen so many different caption style content. Don't know where it originated from. I'm gonna say it was Daniel Dalen, but maybe it wasn't. But I've seen so many different people take the caption style edit and add it to theirs. Some try to rip it completely. Some people take it and create their own thing. I think Daniel Dalen does it a different way compared to another creator that I follow, and I forget his name, but I'll post them. And they got their own style. Like they have made the text based edit its own creative edit, adding to the video. And I thought it's just a really great idea, because when you're trying to repurpose content, especially for the guy, I think his name is Tom, when you're repurposing these type of videos where you're just talking to the camera and there's really minimal B-roll, or I just don't have a stash of footage that I can go to make B-roll that coincides with what I'm saying, we can make this post more engaging with text. And so that's really and obviously really important when you're creating content, is trying to make engaging content. That's just not B-roll heavy, A-roll heavy. Like it's intentional, it's with a purpose. And so I like the way that they did that, but I do know that I have other things to do, and also too, I don't want to sit there the whole time adding text layers to my content. That's going to take time, and also just I have other things to do. I'm just not this person specific editor, and I'm getting paid full time to be their editor, because these guys have editors. Well, at least Tom does. He has an editor. And so I don't know if he's his personal editor, but he has an editor, so he can go through and just do all this stuff. And so I was like, what works for me? Because I love that idea, especially if I'm taking clips from these podcasts and repurposing them. And I'm adding a couple B-roll to it, some B-roll to it that makes sense. But how can I also infuse that text-based editing to make it creative and engaging? And so I did my own thing. And I'm gonna show it to you, here on the side or whatever that made sense for me, that worked for me and my workflow and my time and my resources. All inspired by Daniel Dalen and Tom Noakesky. Rather than just trying to rip it verbatim and do the exact same thing and just die, because it was way too much. It's way too much. I was playing with it a little bit, thinking like maybe I just want to play around with it and see what it looks like throughout the video, trying to add this text. It's like, nope. Either AI is doing this little thing through captions, or we're just not doing it at all. So this was a happy medium. This is what I was proud of. This is the best that I could do, and I'm willing to share and feel confident in sharing it with people. And yeah, so yeah, that's a little example of me grabbing inspiration from multiple creators in a popular style that's going around social media, that's not going to rip my soul out of my chest, because it's just too daggone much and I'm not doing it. I don't have time. And also everybody's doing it. Like Daniel made a start. I don't know, but everybody's doing it. So there's like, I like the idea. I like what everybody's doing. I think it's a good idea, but I don't want to rip it completely, because also everybody's doing it. It's very time consuming. So there's that. So yeah, that's just my example. If anything, what I'm trying to say is that clearly there's nothing wrong with gaining inspiration from people. I mean, it gets the creative juices flowing. That's what happened with me. Because I kind of hit a wall and I kind of wanted to see what everybody was doing, but do my own thing. So yeah, that's my little spiel right there. It's just like, let the other brands in business inspire you, but don't let them define you. Don't let them have you feeling like you got to do exactly that, because that's the problem. We're doing exactly what everybody else is doing, and everybody's tired of it, and there's that too. But here's the thing. And let me make this caveat, because I feel like this is kind of what makes me always have to take a step back from social media a little bit, because it's just like, it's either this or that, right? Here's my thing, and I hope this helps. This mindset helps. It's like, I think there's this balance between I'm creating content that looks like everybody else, and I'm trying to create content that's different or that is unique to me. And so, like my example with using the text-based editing, I thought that was really good idea, really creative idea for something or content that's so stagnant, that's kind of can get boring and stale, that I don't really speak in sound bites, so I don't think I'm gonna hold anybody's attention with what I say. Sometimes I go in circles, sometimes I go on and on and on. And so how do I make this content more engaging, right? While still, not copying everybody else's or not just taking all this time to do text-based editing. And I found a happy medium. And even if I did have the text go throughout the video like everybody else's, I still wouldn't feel like I'm necessarily copying everybody, because it's a good idea. It's a great idea. It's a great strategy. And I'm going to use that strategy as well in my content. Maybe I don't do the thing where it does the see-through words and I just do my whole like yellow font or something like that. And here's the thing, we're never going to know who it originated from, who started it, because it's social media, right? And so it's going to drive you mad trying to be like, well, I started and now everybody's copying me and now I got to stop and do something else. Like, no. Like I said, you got to find it in yourself. It's got to sit right with your soul, and it has to sit right with you when you post it and be like, this just works for me. This just feels right. This just feels good. And like I said, when I came away from that short form edit that I did, taking inspiration from everybody else and posting it, I felt good about it. I felt right. I felt like that. This feels good. This feels good. This works with me. And honestly, I'm probably going to stick with that style because I don't have time to go and do something else. And it's going to work. It's going to work because I'm going to do it consistently. I found something I can do consistently that's engaging. And if we want to improve and do better and we have the funds and everything to outsource to have somebody like to do the text all the way across the video, then that's what we'll do. But for now, this works for me. And if somebody goes out and rips what I'm doing, that's fine. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I did my best. This works for me. This feels right for me. And that's what I'm going to do. And so I want to make that point. I want to make that caveat that yes, like trying to find inspiration, but be unique and be different, or gaining inspiration from everybody else and morphing it into your own content, that you create this whole different piece of content yourself. It sounds like I'm like being kind of like contradicting myself or anything like that, because like I said, there's so many people on the internet, so much stuff going on, and so many different ideas. But when it comes down to it, and maybe like I said, you just rip just the text-based part of it, or you change a little bit of something like that. As long as it makes sense to you, it feels right, it feels good, and you can confidently share it. It's unique. It's unique because at the end of the day, it's you on the video. It's not Daniel on the video. It's not Tom on the video. It's you in the video. It's your personality. It's your expertise. It's your life experience. Even if you throw text over it, but yeah, I just want to make that point because I felt like I was kind of like being like, don't do like everybody else does with the text-based edit and stuff like that. Like if you want to, and because everybody else has done it, I want to say the reason I think probably why I don't like that everybody else is doing the text-based edit is because they don't do it that well. And I think that's the ones that stick out of my head is the ones that don't do it that well. The ones that have done it and like, oh, I like how like there's another guy that I saw last night, and I'll post it here in the video that he did. So I hope you're watching this on YouTube. It's very important. It's very important. But yeah, he did a text-based edit, and it was creative. It was very different from Daniel's. And it's a little on the lines of what Tom did, but it was really creative. And that's what I'm saying is like, I took the idea, we all took the idea of the text-based edit. It's really good idea. It's really like, hey, that was good. That was good. I didn't think about it. Let me add that to my content and put our own spin on it. That makes sense for me. My text-based edit doesn't look like Tom's or Dalen or the other guy that I saw. But it works for me. It looks good for me, and I like it. I'm proud to share it. And so that's what I'm talking about. I hope I'm getting that across. I hope that's making sense to you. That's what I'm talking about, is taking that fundamental idea and doing whatever makes sense to you. Because they have editors. They have somebody that's doing this full time, is paid. I'm doing this on the side for my personal business, and this is the best that I can do, which actually turns out to be something different than what other people have seen. And so that's cool. Now that's unique, right? And somebody probably going to copy it. And you know what? I'm going to be flattered. I'm going to be flattered because There's a saying. What is it? Imitation, whatever. You know what it is. And so yeah, I'm gonna be flattered by it. But yeah, I hope I made that point clear, so that you don't stress about gaining inspiration from other people, or see something that's going a little bit viral, seeing something that's popular, and you want to do it for yourself, for your content. Um, I mean, like, yeah, if it makes sense, it works for you, rip it, rip it, rip it. But that's the great thing about the internet, though, is that you can't do it exactly like that person does it without actually hiring that person. That's really nice. It's always going to be a little off. It's always going to be a little bit different. It's always going to be your spin. So that's how it's going to be unique. Yes, there we go. So I hope that helps. Okay, so the second thing that we're going to talk about here, the second point or the second idea, whatever, is practice and repetition sparks creativity. So currently, I'm in the season of practice and repetition to see what sparks my creativity. So I've been doing this podcast for over a year now, which is crazy. We started last year in October, and then of course in January after that, it was just me. So yeah, I'm currently in that season of practice to in repetition just to see what sparks my creativity, what works for me, and I feel like I figured it out last year around this time, and then I got busy. Then I was rushing through things and trying to get stuff out and trying to be consistent, and it just didn't work out. And now I took a break again twice. Took two breaks, but we're done now. We're focused. We're locked in, and so now I see like, okay, this is what works for me, and so I'm going to first of all talk about little bit like just like something that I thought about like here the last couple days before I came in here was just, especially with that one edit that I spend a lot of time on, is just like my humor, leaning into my humor, because I realize when things are funny, I really like to share that stuff. Like, if anybody follows me on Instagram, which I feel like you don't, but if you did, hey. But like, I share memes all the time on my stories because I think they're funny. I think they're awesome, and you need a laugh today. And no, probably people are double tapping through it or just doing something else, but who cares? For that one or two that actually looked at my meme today, hilarious. I know. Let's laugh together. And so I want to do the same thing through my content because it's just easier for me to do that. It's easier for me to show up and post things when I'm funny. Like, I just look forward to it. I'm excited. And that's so funny is I had that vibe last year when I made like 3 or 4 pieces of content that I post. And then after that, I just got distracted, got busy, got rushed, and forgot that that was my purpose. That's what I wanted to do. And then I come back a year later, and I'm like, that was the goal. So I wrote it down this time so that I make sure I won't forget and forget my why, essentially. Why I share, post the content. And I know now, like, if that's my why, I'm planning it out. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show up more consistently. I'm gonna show up more confidently because I'm leaning into what is me. I'm leaning into me. I'm leaning into, what makes me great. Bomb sense of humor. It's a shame you guys don't get to meet me in person, but maybe one day. I don't know. But also too, I just want to also say that I'm trying to find with practice and repetition, like, what is my editing style? What sparks my creativity? What helps me create a unique piece of content? And so let me talk about this idea, this concept that I have here in the future when I finally move out of my parents' house. I can't wait. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. We're praying about it and we're working. We're working. We're putting in the work. So the goal is I gave myself till the end of next year because what I'm trying to do is be a reasonable adult here and save up 6 months of my finances while also paying off debt. So when I get into this townhome next year, I will have no debt except for my student loans. That sucks, but it is what it is. And then, because my car is about to be paid off in January, okay, but of course it keeps wanting to break down because it knows it's about to be paid off. But we practically got a new car now with all the stuff I fixed on it, so getting paid off next January. But listen, listen, Linda, listen. Okay, I want to move out with no debt except for my student loans. Car is paid for. Maybe I get an SUV because to haul gear if I have to. Not really pushing that issue, and yeah, six. Sorry, not 6,000, but 6 months of my debt or my finances saved up and just keep adding to that fund because I will say I'm blessed to be in a position where I live at home. I don't have to pay anything. and that I can take this time to take the money that I'm making and put it back so that I actually have a fund. Because I know so many people were not able to move out of their home, or to, when they started on their home, they did not have a savings account. If they did, it's a couple $100 in there, not a couple thousand or anything like that in there, in the double digits. So I'm very blessed to be able to do that. And that's why I say it's going to take some time, and I got to be patient, because I refuse to move out and be stressed trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to have this house for month to month, by practically living month to month, and then have to go back home because I don't have the money anymore. That's just, I'm not saying that's going to be that's going to be depressing. So I'm taking my time. I'm being patient. We're going to 7 years, but we're doing it. We're doing it. And yeah, so anyway, so the goal is, because I feel like this inspiration I have for this video is not only cognizant, is that the word I want to use? To the fact that it took me so long to move out of my parents' house, so long to find financial freedom. No, I'm just kidding. But still, financial independence in general. I'm pretty financially independent. It's just the physical independence that we have been really working on and waiting on for such a long time, that this video really is just for me. But the thing is that I have this concept that I know that obviously I can't shoot it in my house. I could shoot it in my room or but I don't want to. That it doesn't connect like it would filming this in this townhome that I want to get or rent next year, lease, whatever the heck it is. And so the video concept came to me after I listened to this song called "Wake Up" by Logic. Darn near 300,000 times in 2023. I still listen to it today. And that's kind of like how my creativity is sparked by music. If anybody knows me, I listen to music a lot. And it's because I'm creating these little mini movies in my head. And it's about time that I start profiting off those. So anyway, I'm really heavily inspired by music. And I think a lot of editors are. But I'm trying to get away from that, because let's be honest, there's a lot of, I can't license this Wake Up song. I can only play it for free on social media pages. And Artlist is cool. Music Bed is freaking expensive, but if I get it, license, and the only way I can license this song is probably when it's 5 years old. But still, so I gotta work away from music and be inspired in some other ways. But I still want to make this video, and so the song starts off with beats that I can use as transitions alone. But he starts off the song with this repetition of "Everyday Wake Up." And as the song progresses, the repetition of "Everyday Wake Up" gets louder until he starts the pre-chorus. And so what I envision in my head while I listen to those first couple of verses where he repeats "Every day wake up." And by the way, "Every day wake up" is like, it's different pitches. It's still him, but it's like "Every day wake up, every day wake up, every day wake up," right? And so I see 16, because I counted. I see 16 different shots around my townhome, whether that be a detail shot, a wide shot, frame within a frame of me working and doing what I love every single day now in my own townhome that is paid for by what it is that I love to do, because that's a really big goal, right? But at the exact same time, he says "every day," and then 16 shots of the same scene with me waking up the verse where it says "wake up." So the 16 shots, there's different shots around the townhome that's paid for, right? By the money that I make doing what it is that I love, are matching with "every day" when he says the verse "every day." And then there's 16 shots of the same shots or the same scene of me waking up. Probably the last one I can see myself actually getting up, but that's what I envision. And so by the way, that's what I'm talking about in this podcast. I'm definitely saving this bit so that I can play it when I make it. I see it. It's gonna happen, and I can't wait till it happens. And I'm gonna edit a really epic video to it too. But whether this video changes the trajectory of my life, okay, or I go viral, it really does not matter. It really does not matter, because what matters to me is how I came up with this concept, okay? And let me tell you, it was effortless. It really was. Because my cheat code is music. I just said that earlier, but I'm gonna say it again because I'm trying to follow my outline now. But music inspires me to create content that is unique and makes sense to me, that I can blend and intertwine with my business and brand. Now, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do that with this specific piece of content? I'm just going to say the content speaks for itself, okay? In my business, the ability to create a concept and produce that concept makes or markets itself to the right people. in, anybody who's in a creative department, a communications department, wanting to hire a freelancer, wanting to outsource this job, hire a contractor, when they see this video, and even if I maybe even break down the video of how I came up with that, they see, oh, she can totally come aboard on our project and be able to create something different for us, a messaging that we need to get across. And so that's how it works for me in my business. So think about your content in the same way. It should market itself to the right customer or client. And so I can't sit here and tell you what it is that you have to do for your business, because we're all different. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that works for me. Yes, I'm definitely creating this video for myself. It's like a homage to me finally moving out and being independent. But at the same time, I can totally use it to my advantage for my business, to market my business, to market my skills, my expertise, my experience, all the things, right? So it's just a matter of finding out, what sparks your creativity, okay? So it may be music, it may be recreating epic fail content and incorporating it in your own content. I've seen that so much. It was a funny video I saw. Maybe I saved it, maybe I didn't. It was a food truck somewhere in like Louisiana, and they were just it was a girl kicking the water bottle off the top of a dummy or something like that. They just made it. They just did their own little creative, funny spin to it, and I loved it. And that's how that works. They do a lot of content like that, and so yeah. So maybe it's leaning into your humor and being bold enough to create content that's never been created in your niche before. I'm telling you guys, rules are meant to be broken. Okay, just because everybody in the real estate agent, every real estate agent, I'm speaking from experience, just from what I follow or what I know. She does a lot of funny stuff. Keep doing it. If it's working, do it. I don't know of any other real estate agents being like that. But hey, if it works for you, you're leaning into what makes you different, what's makes sense to you, do it. Do it, because at the end of the day, this is about marketing, this is about messaging, this is about getting people to know and like and trust you. If you're doing these random TikTok dances and never telling anybody that you sell homes, okay, maybe you should actually tell people you sell homes. That should be the strategy rather than just doing the TikTok dances. But do whatever makes sense. Well, do whatever makes sense to you, what you're comfortable with doing, what good Lord. Un momento. Do whatever makes sense or helps you show up every single day. That's what you need to do. Do whatever makes sense and helps you show up every single day, and also promote your business. Let people know that this is what you do for a living. That's it. I'm not saying it's not complicated or whatever, because it takes time. This takes practice. It takes repetition, like I said, to figure out what works best for you, what gets the creative juices flowing, what helps you continue to show up every day and get the word out about your business. But here's the thing, don't go out looking for permission. I don't know if I said, by the way, I filmed this episode already and I got 30 minutes in. I was like, we're doing it over again. So whether I said it earlier in this re-recording of this episode, or I'm saying it right now, I'm going to say it again. Don't go out trying to look for permission from other creatives in your industry, from other entrepreneurs and small business owners in your niche. Don't go looking for what they're doing and then trying to do that, waiting for them to do something so that you can do it yourself. Like, oh, well, because I'm telling you from my personal experiences, like I don't see other filmmakers doing exactly what I'm doing. They're doing like other things. It's nothing wrong with that or anything like that. I mean, it works for them, and that's where I came out with I'm just gonna do what works for me. And it's really, I'm not gonna lie, it's really hard for me to show up. It's hard for me to be consistent because I'm not seeing people in my industry doing what it is that I'm doing, and so therefore I don't see anybody having success with it. I don't know if I'm doing wrong. And then I finally had a come to Jesus moment where I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. This works for me. This helps me show up consistently. And as long as I'm intertwining with my business, I'm constantly promoting my business. I'm constantly promoting my skills and my expertise, my profession, how to hire me, where to reach me, all that stuff. Then it's works. Then it's not a waste of time for me to be on here creating stuff and investing the money and the time in doing this specifically. Because I had a strategy behind it. I had a goal in mind, whatever, to do it. And so therefore, please do not look for permission in your niche, in your space, to do what it is that makes sense to you, what's comfortable for you. Just always make sure you have a strategy in place that, hey, I've thought this through, and this is going to intertwine with my business. This is going to promote my business. This is going to subtly, or just plant the seed of your business and what you do, and the people you serve. I'm always trying to find my words. That's what you're gonna do. Don't look for permission. Just do it. Just do it. Like I said, just don't do anything. Okay, do what makes sense. Do what's gonna actually grow your business, and look at the data, see if it actually is working, and if not, go a different route. Do something different, but still do something that's true and that makes sense to you, that helps you show up. Okay, because honestly, I can't think of anything. Thankfully, in my niche though, kind of everybody does whatever they want to. Everybody's on YouTube, and that's kind of cool. But still, even if they did other random stuff, and it didn't fit my style, or I didn't feel comfortable showing up that way, that I wouldn't do it. I think actually vlogging, I realize vlogging is hard for me. I don't like to film out in public. I don't like to draw attention to myself. And I do see that's it. I do see a lot of filmmakers doing that, and that does actually really bother me. Or finding like remote places to film in and do cool stuff. I don't have friends. I'm just kidding. I do have friends. They just have lives. So there's that. They can't go with me. I have to go by myself, and I don't want to go by myself. I don't want to go by myself. So yeah. I know at least right now what works for me is going into a studio, shooting something in my room, maybe the backyard. I don't know, maybe whatever, because I'm going to get a membership at Switch Yards. I'm gonna start working, in these like cool spaces, and I could film stuff in there, but I don't want to send my camera away and try to look all, deep in thought on my computer and all that stuff. I don't want to do that. I'm paranoid that somebody's going to take my stuff. So there's that too. And so, yeah, that just doesn't work for me. So this works for me. And this is how I'm going to show up. Instead of getting all like just, guys, like paralyzed with fear, being like, I can't vlog, but I really want to, but I can't. Taking up my whole vacation, not being able to relax. And I think I have to vlog while I'm here, and I can't, because it just doesn't work for me. Maybe one day I'll be able to vlog and do cool shots like that. But for right now, I can't get over it. I'm paralyzed literally with fear and anxiety over it. But this right here, coming in here, filming stuff in my room, that works for me. And that's going to be good enough for right now until I can do better, until I get over my fear. And that's okay. And I hope that this right here helped. Okay, so last but not least is finding your style of content. So I think I talked about it. I think I went on that rant a little bit, and I think I figured that out. I think I already beat myself to the punch here in telling you about finding your style of content. But let me read through this real quick. Let me get back to you and see if I didn't already tell you what you needed to do to find your style of content. One second, I need glasses. Dang it. I'm freaking amazing. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, yeah, I am. No, for real. See, this is what happens when you speak from experience and you speak from the heart. I already wrote this, what I already talked about. It's there. I already talked about it. I already freaking talked about it. No joke. I'm like really surprised right now, because no joke. I think I wrote this during near like the last week of September. I'm filming this podcast in November. It's November 1st. Okay. So I'm really like, wow. Because can I just go off on a little tangent that has nothing to do with this episode? I think that's the problem right now with content on social media, and why it's so hard, especially for me, to show up, is because like I just don't want to be like deemed or like I don't know, like labeled. I like how I was trying to do the hand, like what does this mean? I don't want to be labeled as that person who just found a little bit of success and showed up on social media trying to give everybody this advice, right? I have no experience like there, because I have been harassed and sold to by people who who don't really know what they're doing, and they saw this opportunity to make a quick buck. And so therefore, instead of just being like, girl, you got 10 years of experience and you got 6 years of running a business, you know what you're talking about. And also too, I tried to be transparent as well as like, I live at home. I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all that, but I live at home and I don't pay any bills. Thank you, mom and dad. And the fact that I think I only have one retainer client. I'm trying to get 3 or 4 more so that I can move out comfortably. I got my retainer clients pay the bills, but it's just kind of like, it's, a little choppy. I don't think that's smart for me to leave with just those. I need to get some stuff, build up a deeper clientele so that I can feel like, well, if that one falls off or the budget's not there or whatever, I have these other ones that will come in and fill the gaps and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I try to be transparent and just be like, pretty much that this podcast is me talking about like you're in real time seeing me scale. You're seeing me do whatever it is that I have to do to make the money that I know that I can to move out of my parents' house. That's the goal. And once I move out of my parents' house, we made it, and there's no need for this podcast. No, I'm just kidding. But still, I've just seen so many people online that are just like, I can teach you how to make $10,000 every single month if you just download my ebook. And I laugh because somebody's like, if you're making $10,000 a month, you're not selling that secrets in an ebook. You're going out and making you $10,000. Okay? Like, why would I waste my time trying to teach or like join my university or whatever? And it's like, why would I waste my time trying to teach you if I'm already making this money? Now, I get this though. I get like, oh, this is another stream of revenue. Like, this is another way to make money. Sometimes passive, especially if it's one of those you just log in and you just, you just watch courses on your own terms. I get that. I get that. But it's just the ones that are just like $10,000 a month. But what? And then like, there's one I just think of specifically that, he's a coach for videographers or whatever. And he's over here telling you guys like you can make $10,000 a month, filming content for other, businesses and commercials. But yet when he posts his ads, they're all AI generated. I never see any videos that he's done for clients, and I'm kind of like, okay, so what does $10,000 a month look like? Like, what's the content that you're producing for other people that they're willing to pay you $10,000 a month, or is the multiple, 3 clients that are paying you $10,000 a month? Like, I want to see what is the level, and you're not seeing it. And so it has prevented me from showing up a little bit. It has made me kind of like be in my head about it. 'Cause like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I want to actually show up and actually, I put in the reps. I have the time. I have the experience. I am qualified to actually show up and give you this advice and tell you, what it is that you need to do versus these other people that are on social media that don't know what they're doing, haven't been in it that long, and have just see this as an opportunity to get brand deals, to get sponsorships, to make a lot of money and get a Tesla. Everybody thinks YouTube is easy. You just get your 1,000 subscribers and you're gonna make money. I think maybe it is. I don't know. Something that I don't know. Maybe it is easy, and I'm on to something. But at the same time, I want to be helpful, and I want to have the experience, the solid experience to show up and to actually help you. So this right here was just a real time, and I hit the mic. I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna ignore that. I definitely hit the crap out of the mic. So if you're listening to the podcast, sorry. That's what I do. I can't stand still, you know what I'm saying? But it's just in real time seeing that, like, wow, I know what I'm talking about. This is real time. It's just me doubting myself. And I'm really working on it mentally, spiritually, everything, to stop doubting myself, walk in my power, and believe in myself and have confidence in myself. And I just in real time just was like, bro, quit playing with yourself. You know what you're talking about. Stop playing. Anyway, okay, that's it. Sorry. So thank you for listening to this episode of the Creators Initiative. I hope that you gain value. Okay, you gain encouragement. You're gonna come away from this episode creating content your way on your terms. Yeah, all the things. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. That's really important. Probably should start saying that in the beginning of the episode, but I don't, so try to get better at that. And if you're listening on any podcast platform. I don't know how it works on Spotify, but I do know how it works on Apple. So give that 5 stars. Give that 5 stars and share with a friend, because sharing is caring. And I will catch you in the next episode. Bye. This was. Oh my gosh, I gotta edit 50 minutes of this. I hope it's a lot. I gotta cut out. Okay, bye.